And we are recording. Welcome to Internet Anytime podcast number 18.
Woo, yeah. 18. That means we're legal.
Yes, it does. Like, is there places where the age of consent is even older? Is my question, but probably not.
I just meant like legal to go to like parties, but okay, yeah, that's
it. What do you mean legal to go to parties? Parties are 21 plus, or they're all ages. I guess there's 18 plus. You're right.
They're 18 and over clubs. They're 18 over clubs. You don't really want to go to the high school. Well, I went to a couple, but they weren't the same as like, the 18 over parties.
Yeah, there's a difference when it was all ages or 15 plus or whatever the frick they were trying to pull.
18.
Yeah, the nightclub that we would go to in high school right after was called Tropics. And they had all these like plastic, we were in Minnesota, but they had all these plastic palm trees everywhere, and it was like fake tropics. And actually turned out being right next door to where my recording studio was. But yeah, Tropics was crazy. It was intense. It's just a big warehouse.
I do not remember the name. I only went there like once or twice because my mom didn't really let us go out to parties or whatever. But it was one night where I was hanging out with my group of friends that were pre-approved. And we went to this party at this really popular, like, I think it probably was like 14 and up, just like all high school ages. It was like 14 to 19 to get in. So like you had those 19-year-olds like, okay, why are you guys trying to hang out with some kids? But okay. And we went and we had a blast. It was like a crazy party. They had like a dance contest, and me and my friend entered like the dance contest, and I was on stage and I was dancing and I won the contest.
Wow.
Which was like 2 free tickets to come back to this club. But this was like the only time I ever really got to go. So I never got to use the tickets. But I was like, oh yeah, I'm living life like I'm in a music video.
You didn't go back with the free tickets? Your mom was strict.
Well, it was like I was not driving at the time. So like
you were super young. You guys were like you were like 15.
I was like 16, probably had like just turned 16. But like I didn't have my own car. So like I had to go when I was going with other people. And my friend group, they were fine with just like hanging out. Us hanging out at like someone's house and talking and just messing around, being silly.
Sure. And I mean, when you're that age, your options are limited, and plus, like, driving more than outside of whatever area you live in doesn't really happen too often. You don't really even have time for that kind of stuff because you're busy with high school shit and stuff like that.
Exactly. And then you have like I didn't really have a curfew. It was just like, don't come back too late.
My parents were very strict about some stuff, about my grades. And if I got the straight A's, more or less, I didn't get totally straight A's, but I had to have an A average, we'll say. And then if I did that, if I didn't do that, I had to pay them money. That was like $50 a quarter. And then, but when I was maintaining that, they pretty much let me do whatever I wanted. But to maintain that, you have to like, and I was in hard classes. I was doing high school a lot, way too much.
Wow. That's kind of, I think that's kind of smart of your parents. The $50 per grade that's not an A. Like
it was kind of hypocritical because they like were not supportive of like me getting a job, really. So it's like, how do you expect me to like do this?
Oh, to like pay for stuff.
Yeah, but I did get a job.
I got a job too. My parents, they were supportive of the job because like if my parents weren't supportive of the job, like I couldn't have gone to work. Like my dad had to like pick me up from school, take me to work, and then pick me up from the job. I'm like, now that I'm older, I'm like, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work for me to go to this job every day for 4 hours. He probably is like, I just want to go home and sleep. And I was getting off work every day at 10 p.m. So I'd work every day after school from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Where you work Forever 21?
No, I actually was a telemarketer.
Oh, yeah, like kind of a somewhat real job.
Yeah, it was like a legit job. Like,
it was an office.
Yeah, it was like in an office, and they had people that there were like legit adults that were doing the job, and they did it as like their 9 to 5.
Right.
And then like for the 6 o'clock shift, it was like all these teenagers from all over like Southfield and Detroit and like, Detroit suburbs just coming, and we're on the phone like, hello, would you like to give to the veterans of Vermont?
And it was just random stuff. They were just like depending on who was paying.
Yeah. So you had to like, it was a professional fundraiser. We had to tell them we're a professional fundraiser. And these nonprofit organizations would pay the fundraiser to call people trying to get money.
Huh. That's still got to exist on some level, probably not
Oh,
as
yeah.
much. But
I'm sure it does, because I still have gotten calls from people like, do you want to
yeah,
give
that's
to
true.
the veterans or whatever? So they're still out there. Just, you guys know the people are calling you might be some 16-year-old girl. So be nice to her. It might be her first job. She's just trying to pay for her school activities.
That's funny.
What job did you get?
In high school, my real job was I worked at a gas station, but it also had a mechanics in a garage in it. So I was like pumping gas, and we were towing cars, fixing tires, doing oil changes, but also
Okay.
like working the register too. There'd be like there'd be two mechanics working, and then there'd be two of us, like young kids that were just sort of there. We'd clean up the garage, the mechanics would leave, and we'd mop the floors and stuff.
Okay. Those are
Uh,
good skills. It's
yeah,
good
I've
not
got it because I
to.
knew I couldn't get a nice car. I had a junk shit car that I knew I was gonna have to like pay to fix myself, and it was gonna break down all the time. And so I
Mhm.
needed to like get some skills and also have access. Like they let you use the garage for your own car and stuff. And it makes a big difference when you can lift your car in the air and you don't have to crawl under it to do work or
Yeah.
whatever. That's huge. And then they had power tools, which is also like you take that for granted, I guess. They have like air tools, so everything spins super fast and is super strong. Whereas like when you're in your own house, you have to do things manually unless you have like really nice stuff. So it was good.
And
And then I also worked as like a music teacher at my Hebrew school.
oh, that's so cute. You're teaching like little kids music?
I was like they had their own classes, and then there'd be like, oh, it's like the music minutes with Jacob, and we would like sing Hebrew and Jewish songs, kind of like that. Kind of like what you'd see in an elementary school
Mhm.
where the teacher,
Oh, like the music teacher.
yeah, it's not like they didn't have like instruments. I wasn't like teaching them anything, we were singing songs.
Like, did they have like sheet music where they like notes and stuff and you're like, clap the beat?
Yeah, stuff like that. And there's just a lot of like Jewish traditional songs. There's lots of Jewish holidays every month, so there's lots of songs that go along with that. A lot of the prayers are songs. So there's a lot to work with there, and it's just kind of like part of the culture, I guess, in a way.
Uh-huh.
And so I would do that not only there, but at like Jewish summer camps or
Really?
yeah, because I could play guitar and sing and stuff. So they knew that. They're like, hey, we need somebody. Um, we'll pay you. And I was like, oh, sure.
That's good stuff. So
Yeah.
these people, they have these childhood memories, and you were like music teacher Jacob.
Yep.
Oh, that's so cute, Jacob.
Yep.
A
I
part
mean,
of me always wanted to be like a camp counselor or something.
you never did something. I did that just sort of as this like music teacher person a couple
Uh-huh.
times. I don't think I was ever like a counselor where I had like a group of campers of my own, but I did like participate in some day camps, not overnight ones. I went
Mhm.
to a couple overnight ones, but
Really?
I did, yeah. Some Jewish summer camps.
We weren't allowed to spend the night away from home unless we were at my grandmother's house. So yeah, no overnight camps. But they always look so cool on TV.
These were like it was Jewish centered, so it was like all the kids from my
Hmm.
Jewish life were going, and my parents did not want to send me. My immigrant parents were not about paying for some shit like that. Like they did not want it. I had to beg, and then the adults, like the rabbi and like some of the teachers, were like, "Really, you're not going to send him? Like, is it really that much money?" Like they kind of pressured my parents, like this will be good experience for him. He should go,
Hmm.
and so they caved in and let me go begrudgingly.
That's Well, it's good that you got to go in the end and you had those valuable experiences.
It was fun. I mean, it was very classic, like Wisconsin in the woods in the summer, you know. It was like Jewish, but it was you do all the normal summer camp stuff.
Did you guys do like archery?
There was probably archery that you could do. I don't remember doing archery. I played a lot of like sports at that time. I probably would have not have wanted to do archery as much as like play basketball, soccer, stuff like that. Yeah, that's what I was into.
Like the regular stuff. That's cool. That sounds like fun. I feel like it's important for kids to get outside during the summer, just hang out and be kids.
I think parents need a break from their kids too, to be like
Oh
their
yeah. All my friends that like have kids, especially during like COVID and the quarantine, they're like, oh my gosh, like let these kids go outside and just like hang out there. Give me like a minute. And I
hmm
know that the schools have just opened up. And you think
hmm
like, oh, okay, maybe people won't send their kids to school because like it's the end of the year, but people are like, take my kid.
Yeah, well, and they want their kids to get back into that mode too. I mean, nobody thinks very well. That's not true. Some people, I think, actually did have a good experience and are like, my kid did handled it really well. But is it
Mhm.
like comparable to actually going to school? Probably not. You know, especially because they had to do it all on the fly. It's not like they had it all like this curriculum planned out for at-home learning. You know, so
Exactly. And then like if the kid doesn't have a really great home situation to learn, if they don't have a desk,
so
like
many
it,
kids. You heard so many horror stories, and oh man,
but one story I just read, a girl, well, no, it was actually a little boy. Not only did he finish high school during the quarantine, but he also managed to get a college degree. I'm like,
nice.
wow, this kid was applying himself while I was at home watching K dramas and painting. This kid like had his whole life together and he's only like 13 or 14. So like yeah. But I'm like, dang, that sounds good. That's really great that he was able to do that. But I'm like, now he's gonna miss out on some like really great college and high school milestones. Like
It's yes, but those milestones are all like made up by society and stuff. You know, it's not like I mean, we had certain milestones, but people 100 years ago didn't do that shit, and they won't do it in 100 years either. You know.
that's true, but it's like, getting to make these friends and have these especially like freshman year of college, you're meeting these people and you kind of are in this bubble where you can make mistakes and you can do some stupid stuff, but you're all doing stupid stuff and you're in this place where they expect you all to be young and kind of crazy college students. But
hmm
if you're immediately just going out into the world, you're like, whoa, I'm expected to do stuff for myself now. Well, not that he will, because he's still like
Right.
14.
Right. No, I mean, there's some value to like the college experience or whatever when you leave home, if people want that, or you know.
Yeah, if they want that, or they can just go out, find their path.
I mean, there's no way that the kids or a good chunk of humans, you know, that were in high school and junior high, I think especially and late elementary school that are going to have some kind of PTSD from all this or whatever. I can imagine I'd be if I was in high school, I'd have been so pissed. You
I
know,
would be. I mean, even just like the little things, like going to school and talking to your friends. I had so many friends who, like, even though we had cell phones and stuff, we weren't online or
right,
on our phones after school talking to each other. We talked to each other at school.
right.
So we talked to each other in the hall
And
at
I had so many
recess.
crushes. You know, like how am
Yes,
I going to hook up or whatever? That would be like one thing. I'm trying to get my first like you know, get my first under the shirt action.
getting that on Zoom. But it's
Yeah,
like, I mean, even just like the little simple crushes where like, oh my gosh, I got picked to be partners with such and such
yeah,
today. Or like,
totally.
oh, we were sitting there, and you gotta put your desk together and like your elbows touch. You're like, oh man,
There's
elbow to elbow, we're in love.
right, and there's also like the opposite, like so much jealousy and stuff like that or whatever, you know.
Like,
I was actually on a Zoom call with a bunch of my high school friends, and my best friend was like, one of my friends was like, "Oh, let's read." We were celebrating somebody's birthday, and we're like, "Let's read high school notes from her." And he's like, "Oh, I bet I can find one that picks apart and just compares me to Jacob the whole time." And it's
what?
like, and I'm like, "What? This was happening?" And he's like, "Yep."
The little things that you have no idea were going on. It's like, especially like senior year, you find out like, oh yeah, ninth grade, I had a crush on you, but like you wouldn't give me the time of day. Like, what? I had no clue. I thought we were just cool friends hanging out. I wasn't trying to deny your feelings. I didn't know you had any.
For me, there's been stuff like that that's come out later, like in adulthood and stuff, where I guess I was just too blind to see certain things as a kid. I mean, I still probably am now as like a male adult. Like I was like, it's over my head. Emotional communication, what? But maybe I'll
Especially as a teenager. Like
yeah.
you really have your blinders on. You're trying to focus on school and grades and then like friends. And
Well,
then
you have your own crushes too, like
yes, you have your own crush. So you really don't see anyone. And it's like, there was like someone who I said like hi to every day. And then like I found out the person had like a crush on me and they were like, oh, hi. And I realized I didn't actually know their name. And they're like, oh. And then they didn't talk to me anymore after that. They're like so hurt. And I'm like, but there's that short window when you can figure out someone's name. And if your like close friends don't know their name, and it's kind of hard to ask someone else like, hey, what's the guy in the purple shirt's name?
Right.
And you don't want them to find out that you're asking about their name. You're like, what? But you like hang out with him sometimes. It's like, yeah, nobody like says his like real name. They just call him BJ or whatever.
I definitely did not. And in high school, I knew a lot of people's names. Our high school wasn't too big. There was like 300 people in our class, which is medium. But in my high school reunions, which I don't know if I go to again, but there was definitely people who are like talking to me like they're my best fucking friend. And I'm like, I literally have no idea. Like, I'm just like looking at them, trying to get some sort of clue. And we're supposed to have like name tags, but they wrote some like joke name on their name tag.
That's not funny. You
Yeah.
gotta write your real name. You gotta write your real name. I don't know who you are.
Totally. I was like, this isn't good.
Especially for a reunion, like, because the thing is, I follow people on Facebook, so I've seen some people's pictures within 5 years of us graduating from high school. Some of these people have like morphed into totally different folks, like people that play football. They're not exercising every day, but they're still eating like they play football. These guys have gained like crazy weight, like dad bods or worse, or like people have lost their hair, and it's like people have had kids and people just look different. And then we have like the other thing where people were like kind of nerdy, they didn't know their look back in high school, but they had like the full Instagram glow up since then. So it's like, you need to give me a name tag. I don't know who you are now, but thanks to Instagram and Facebook, I've kind of gotten to see people's progression. But that's also why I don't really feel the need to go to a reunion. Because like the people that I wanted to talk to then, I follow you online. I see congratulations on the new baby. I don't need to go all the way back to Michigan to catch up.
Yeah, I feel that. I don't think I'm gonna. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'll go to my next one. I'll decide, later.
Think it over.
Yeah, well, I mean, the people in my high school are like racist bigots. You know what I mean? It's like,
oh no,
there are people who like don't like me because I'm Jewish.
Oh my gosh, are you? Oh, I would not go. Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
No, I'm not kidding.
That's sad. I would not give that. And another reason why I wasn't feeling my reunion was it was expensive.
Oh, like, really?
They had like a whole weekend plan, but just for like the dinner, they like recreated our prom, and they like rented out the place where we had prom, and they were like, wear your prom dresses, or like, a prom type dress. And yeah, the tickets were like $190 just for that night.
What?
Because it was the same place where we had prom, which was not cheap. And I'm like, and that was for you and a date, but it was just like, I'm like, I don't want to I don't need to put that dress back on. I got so many dresses. Like, and I don't need to recreate my prom. Like, I kind of like, I had surgery like the day before prom. So like prom was kind of like a blur. I was still on the morphine. but like it was cool. It wasn't crazy fun. I don't need to recreate it. There have been so many more fun parties since prom. And we could have a more fun party in like regular clothes for less
Totally.
money. A lot less money.
Ours was like $10. Like we rented out, we always do the same thing. We rent out a room in a bar, like in St. Paul, Minnesota. And it's always like the same bar. And they have like a second floor and like you get like a couple drink tickets or something. And then it's just like cash bar. And pretty much the public can go up there too, but it's like it's a separate part of the bar. And for a few hours, it's just closed off, you know, and we're all there. It's perfect.
That sounds great. $10. If it had been like even like $20 or $30, I would have considered it. But
it might have been more like that. It might have been more like 15 or 20. It might not have been 10.
Yeah. 15. That's still nothing, especially if you get some drink tickets. That's 15, 20. That's a drink in LA anyway. Exactly. If I get 2 drink tickets, it's worth it. I'll go say hi to these people. Like that makes sense.
Right. No pressure to stay or anything. Even you can just be
like, hey, bye.
Yep. And people did that. Some people like showed up like super late and were just like, hey, what's up? And we're there for like 45 minutes. Some people were there really early and then bolted right away because they were like, this is horrible. And they weren't wrong. I stayed for a long time though. I was like, fuck it. I mean, I'm here. Obviously, like I traveled, not just specifically for that. I was there for like a couple weeks. But so yeah, I was like, I'm here the whole time. And I was so drunk at the end, like we couldn't find where our Uber was. I grew up around here. Like I worked at the restaurant across the street for like 2.5 years. I like did not know where I was. I was like, what?
Oh no. Yeah. But did you have fun?
For the most part, yes and no. I mean, with some people, yes, but then there were these weird parts where like this one dude like got in my face a couple times, and that's like he's part of like a very known to be racist family. And I even asked one of my friends there, I was like, I think this guy doesn't like me because I'm Jewish. And he's like, you wouldn't be wrong about that.
That's so crazy. Like, oh my gosh. Well, forget him. He didn't have to come to reunion. He was bringing his hate.
Yeah, that was weird. It's just like, why'd you even talk to me or whatever, you know?
There you go. He could have just completely ignored you.
Yeah, it's so weird. He's like a Proud Boy type, you know? He's like one of those kind of people.
It's like, I don't need to be a part of your world. Just go live in your own corner. That's fine. Live in the Appalachian Mountains with your incest family. Just do that.
He got in my face and he was like, oh, everybody knows you're so cool. Like something like that. I was like, what? Like uninstigated.
If he said that, that means he's jealous. If he said everyone knows you're so cool, that means he knows you're cool.
Damn right, I'm cool. I mean,
he's mad that you're cooler than he is, and you're like, who are you again? Are you a parent? Because you know, there's some of those people that like now they look like they're our parents' age, even though they're like 34. It's like he didn't age so well. Well, did you have anyone that you had a crush on in high school, and then you saw them at the reunion, and it was like slow motion? Who's that girl?
No, like that was awesome. Did you do that? How good for you?
No.
You also have some effects. Your vocals just did a crazy thing. Was that was that a button you hit? Or did
that was me. That was me singing.
You're like, who's that girl? And then it sounded like angels.
That was just me singing. So thank you. Okay. See, I'm going to save this moment because people are telling me, I tell people all the time that I can sing and they're like, who told you that? Some guy you're dating? I'm like, no, actual friends who like would tell me the truth. So, okay, this is recorded for history.
All my crushes in high school, probably if there was anybody like that, they would have been in a different grade. Like the people in my grade, we either ended up dating, you know, knew each other since we were 8 years old and stuff. So there's nobody like in my class where I'm like, I had a crush and or something like that. Maybe in like some other classes, in a couple of like some of the older girls that were like a year older than me. Them I would have had crushes on. Yeah, they're all married though.
That's how it is for me. I don't know. So there were like 2 people in my year that I had crushes on. Like one guy moved out of the country and he still looks very happy. You know, some people are like, oh yeah, it didn't work out. Like he didn't like me back, but you know, he's like fat now. No, he got better looking over time, and he like moved. He's like living a cool life, but he's probably married by now because I haven't checked in like 7 years.
Uh-huh.
And then the other guy, he also like moved away, but not to California. So,
Uh-huh.
but they both of them still look handsome. I'm like, okay, okay. I picked good ones back in high school. I had good taste.
That's good. Yeah, like you were saying, people can change so much so rapidly, but I mean, you can change back too. It's
Yeah,
just that thing where I think it's not the healthiest thing. I mean, same thing happened to me where now looking back at pictures of me, it's not so obvious, but my friends were like, "Wow, you really gained weight when you went to college because you stopped playing sports every day if you were an athlete." For 2 hours a day, I'd be like running as fast as I could, you know? And that makes you so hungry too. Like I would eat so much food and your appetite stays the same, but you're just not burning any calories. And that college cafeteria my freshman year was like all you can eat self-serve buffet style, you
yes.
know?
Oh my gosh, the cafeteria was like one of my favorite parts of college. Like, oh, I gained like, they say the freshman 15, and I wasn't like the tiniest in high school, but I was much bigger than I am now, but I was like more curvy. I was more curvy. But yeah, I wasn't as thin as I am now. But freshman year, like the first semester, I gained like 30 pounds.
30?
I gained 30 pounds.
Wow.
That was like the heaviest I ever been in my life. So I went from like 130 to like 160. I was
Uh-huh.
like, whoa. And then yeah, that cafeteria, because you get there in the morning and you're eating, and then you go in there for a snack, then you have that nice big old lunch. And then
Right.
all of our friends lived in like the same dorm as us. So we'd all just like hang out as people would come in, we'd get another plate, you get hungry again. It was like basically hanging out at a buffet all evening.
Right. Yeah, because there's nowhere else to go because you can't, whatever. It's either that or your dorms. So yeah,
Yeah,
you would sit in the lunchroom because that's like your high school lunchroom kind of too as a social place.
yeah.
We had guys like there's like a guy in the morning making you an omelet, however you want it, and like guys making you double cheeseburgers and stuff right off the grill. So I'm eating like an omelet and like a double burger every day, and all the other stuff in between. There's pancakes and French toast and waffle, and then there's like soda machines, where you can just do
And
that.
then like all these different kinds of donuts, like
Yes, they had like the
really.
dessert bar. It was kind of like Old Country Buffet in there.
Exactly. Old Country Buffet. But it's all on your meal card, and you can come in and leave whenever you feel like it. And we had like the unlimited meal plan. So you could come in as much as you wanted.
Oh,
And it was
really?
supposed to be to encourage you to eat smaller meals throughout the day. So people wouldn't be just like gorging because they only had 2 meals per day.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I feel like I did that throughout the day. I'd like go in and grab like a donut and like an apple or something. But yeah, there were times where I'd have like 2 lunches because they also served like late night. If you came in like after 10, they had like pizzas and hamburgers, and
Wow.
yeah. And we'd be like, oh yeah, come on, let's go grab some pizza and take it back to the dorm. I know it was not the healthiest eating habits, but it was good times.
That would have been dangerous. Ours was, I mean, you obviously had to pay for it too, but the max was like a 19 meal plan. So you can go in there, 19 times, which like, I mean, because I was partying and stuff, there were times, definitely weeks where I didn't use all 19.
Oh,
Um,
19 times in a week.
yeah. So there's like
Oh,
21 meals.
that's a good amount. Still a good amount.
Yeah. I mean, it's 3 a day and then like 2 on, whatever. There's 2 days where you only have 2, but since it's unlimited food, you could have taken stuff out of there. That's something that I kind of think I wish I would have planned better of like, because sometimes I would order pizza late night and I didn't have any money. I was like working at the library for $20 a day or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, late night you'd have to like order pizza or something like that. That wasn't cool.
I remember those. We'd be like, oh, who has money? Because we would get so every semester with the meal plan, you get a meal card that had like Sparty Cash, which you could use to like order pizza or wings or whatever. And And depending on your level, you'd have like $150, $250, or like $300 or $400. So we'd be like, oh, who has money on their meal plan? We're gonna order some pizza. Like, oh, I still got $20. Like we're all ordering. Cause
Hmm.
like me and like a bunch of friends, we all had our rooms next to each other. So we just like hang out in whoever's room and order pizza or whatever. Good time.
Nice.
And
I
that
kind
contributed to my freshman 30.
of, I bet,
Yeah.
I
But it
bet.
got real though. Cause like, did you take classes over the summer at all?
Um, Not in a normal. I went to like music, like a 2-year music college eventually, and
Hmm.
there I did take a summer semester once,
Okay.
I think.
I liked summer classes, but like they didn't have the cafeterias open during the
Uh,
summer. And that's when I lost a whole lot of
really.
weight because we
Uh,
were living on ramen.
Gotcha. You kind of went year round. The first school I went to Colgate University in upstate New York, small private liberal arts school. There's 2,800 students, and they don't even like they're not even open in the summer. There might be like 10 people up there, a couple
Mhm.
people like working on some projects or whatever. They don't have grad school. It's just an undergrad place, so kind of emptied
So
on the summer. Then I went to the University of Minnesota for my sophomore year, which is probably very similar in look overall to Michigan State, since they're both the
probably,
yeah.
probably.
But I didn't
Very
really
cold.
have the experience there. Like I was living off campus. I never lived in the dorms, so I just kind of like commuted to class. Later, I worked as a bartender, like in one of the bars on campus, but I wasn't going to school anymore.
Okay. Still were like in the bubble.
Kind of like Dinkytown is like the University of Minnesota area, and
Mhm.
people go there. Like there was a couple music venues, still are, and some nicer restaurants even. And so it was like, yeah, it's like the center of the university area, but also it's like for the area in Minneapolis where it was. There's like a record store.
Okay.
That.
So it had some stuff. I noticed that a lot of people, when they go, especially like at Michigan State, a lot of people end up settling in East Lansing
Uh
after they
huh.
graduate. So I have some friends I went to school with, and they still live there because they ended up just getting jobs nearby, good jobs with their degrees. But yeah, they in that same town.
Interesting. East Lansing's okay. I played
Yeah,
some
East
shows
Lansing is
there.
cool. It's cool.
Uh-huh.
It's just cold.
Right.
It's
Yeah, 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 yeah.
cold.
Totally.
It's cold. Just
No,
okay.
man, it was like snowing in Minnesota last week. Or like a couple weeks ago. I mean, it has been cold.
It snowed in Michigan too. Like my dad sent me a picture and it had like just been like 84 degrees and it was like a crazy random warm day. And then like 2 days later it snowed. And I'm like, Michigan weather.
Yeah. How do
We
they
can't,
do it?
I couldn't go back. Couldn't
I
go
don't
back.
know. Everything about it, man. I mean, Detroit and Minneapolis are really different cities. I mean, there's similar things about Michigan and Minnesota with like the cold and the hockey and sort of like the
Hmm.
Big Ten feel. And there's something in common with the cold, but Detroit is so much more East Coast, straightforward. Minnesota is so much more like
Yeah.
Lutheran and rigid, and
Oh, really? A lot of people there are Lutheran?
yeah, it's like a huge Scandinavian influence. So like all these Norwegian and Swedes moved there, and
Hmm.
that's why it's all yeah. So Minnesota, that's where the accent kind of comes from, and this
Ah, yes.
really deep passive aggressive attitude, which Detroit people don't have.
Nah, we're not so passive aggressive. We're straightforward. We tell it like it is. But you know what? They probably like it was similar weather to the Scandinavian climate. Like,
Exactly.
oh, it's like home. And
Right.
don't you guys have like a lot of lakes?
Right. Yeah, and it's a beautiful place in the summer. I mean, Michigan is too. They probably look kind of similar. I think the forests are a little bit different, actually. But yeah, there's tons of nature and stuff, and that's kind of the appeal, I think. Or if you live there and you're not partaking in that, it's kind of like, well, what else is there? Like you're missing out, Like that's like
Yeah.
part of your environment.
Well, the summer season is coming up. Are you planning on doing any partaking now that like the world is opening up? We can go camping and hiking and just be outside with people. And they just said for all fully vaccinated people, we do not have to wear masks when we exercise outside. So yeah, a little bit more like how life was. I know you're not vaccinated yet.
I will next
But
week. I just because I'm traveling, and then I was at my
really?
parents' house. I'm going to Minneapolis this weekend because for a memorial service. But at my parents' house is in the Orange County, and so I couldn't make my appointment there because I'm a resident in LA. So I didn't
Uh-huh.
do it, and then I came back, and now I'm going. But yeah, next week. I wanted to kind of do it this week, but I don't want to. I'm nervous to. I don't want to get. Some people don't have the best reaction. And since I'm leaving, I didn't want to get sick right before I left, or it just makes me nervous. But yeah, as soon as I get back, I'm going to make my appointment. I was even trying to make it in the future, but they don't really let you. You kind of have to do it like the week of or a few days beforehand, seems like.
Yeah,
So
like
yeah,
right before. Oh, that's so exciting, Jacob. I'm very
first
excited
priority.
for you.
I have to I have to admit that when I was running outside here in LA, I wasn't wearing a mask much when I was running outside. I mean, I was steering clear of people. I'd run in the middle of the streets. I was getting off the sidewalk.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like there's any pedestrians out here anyway.
true. People not walk outside.
When I was in Griffith and there'd be people, yes,
Yeah.
there I would do it and stuff, and in parks. Just when I was running on the street, I wouldn't do it there so much. I am looking forward to. I got a surfboard during COVID, and I went a few times at the end of last summer. I didn't have a wetsuit, so in the winter it's just out of the question. But I'm really excited to get back in the water. I went 6
Mhm.
times and started to feel like I
Okay.
kind of had my bearings a little bit. Um, so yeah, I'm super pumped. I've been doing a lot of working out my core and things to get like the good muscle buildup, so I
That
can
sounds
push
good.
myself up on that surfboard. And
I want to try surfing. I do want to try it. But before that, I need to get to be a better swimmer. Because if I
mm,
fall in that water, I don't want to drown.
yeah, you definitely don't. I mean, the most of the surfing areas, well, you do need to
Isn't
be
there
able to
like
swim.
normally like a strong current where the waves are?
Sort of. I mean, you're actually not really much especially when you're beginning and stuff. It's not like you're out in deep water where you wouldn't really be able to stand necessarily.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, but even then, like if a certain wave comes up, and then you will be in moments where maybe you can't touch the bottom. But your surfboard is also a buoy, and it's
Mhm.
attached to your ankle.
I must admit, all of my surfing knowledge comes from Baywatch.
I bet. I mean, I don't know. I haven't. Did you really watch a lot of Baywatch?
I did. That was like one of my faves growing up because
It
they're like
was.
people in the water, and then it's like, oh no, and then the person's like, oh, this is happening. And they're like, and then someone always hits their head on a rock in the water, and they're
Uh
like knocked out, and then the person's like, blow the whistle, do 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 do, and then they're like, running, I
huh.
have to save him.
Uh huh.
It was entertaining. And I didn't get, and like, I didn't get why people were like, oh, kids should watch it. I didn't even really pay attention because, we're kids. I'm not even paying attention that the people are like, they're saying they're like half naked because they're wearing like swimsuits. And I'm like, they're people wearing swimsuits. We're like, whatever.
Right.
They're
I
at a
mean,
beach.
yeah. The women were sexy, but the bathing suits, I mean, even for that time, it wasn't very revealing. I mean, they were one piece red things. They were real covered up.
Full covered on the backside, not like now, just like for fun bathing suits are like cheeks out.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, those were cheeks in.
Yes.
I mean, David Hasselhoff's in the bathing suit, but that's just dudes.
We
That's
weren't here
funny.
for that.
There's this YouTuber, I don't know if you've seen him. He's called German in Venice. He's like an older German guy. He's got like long blonde hair. And I think he
Uh-huh.
does henna tattoos on the boardwalk, I think is his job. But he's got like
Okay.
100,000 followers on YouTube. He makes like LA centric videos. He made one
Okay.
of like how they were kicking the homeless people out of Echo Park last week. He was like there filming and interviewing and stuff. And he'll also do like weird like history ones. And sometimes he'll be like walking around wherever he is in LA, and he has like old photos of like old movies or movie stars hanging out in weird places. And he just like compares the photo. He's like, right here is where where Michael Jackson shot his Nissan commercial. I can't do a German accent. And it's like, oh my God. It's like he got a photo of Michael Jackson on like a little moped. And it's like on a pier, you know, like in Venice or something. And he has a bunch of Baywatch ones because they were like filming there on location in Malibu and in Santa Monica and stuff, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, like at Will Rogers
Ah,
State Beach, they would. And I guess there was one part of the beach, I don't remember what part now, but that they regularly use. Like there's some lifeguard type station that was like, you know, and that's still sitting there, like it's just, you know, part of the beach. So,
okay.
so I was wondering if you'd ever seen that as a Baywatch fan. If I see which links he talks about Baywatch, I'll send them to you because
Send
it's
it
pretty
to me.
cool.
You know what? Now that I live in LA, I never really thought about it being shot here. But like that's kind of cool. I should get like a Baywatch X swimsuit. That's what I should be for. Oh, I'd say I should be that for Halloween, but it's cold. It's
That's true.
cold. It's cold.
It's
But
true.
that would
But
be cute to take pictures because you can climb up onto the lifeguard stand. You can stand there and be like, pose like, oh my gosh, is somebody in the water?
people are always hanging out on lifeguard stands. I mean, it says right on there, like, don't climb up here, right? But like,
Oh, he does.
I think so, yeah. I mean,
I
you'd think it
totally
would.
climbed up there before. I've
People are
climbed.
always sitting up there. That's just like a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like no one's ever really like hurting it. I've never seen anyone like vandalizing. People like go up there and then they take cool pictures and then they walk down. Like,
Right. They have like romantic. That's what it always is, like couples up there.
I've gone up there sometimes at night and then it looks nice. You look at the waves, you look at the stars.
Uh-huh.
A nice place to sit. It's quiet and peaceful.
Right. That's the thing, is that on those stairs and stuff, there's not sand. So if you're like in normal clothes and it's night, that's the thing about going to the beach, is there's sand there.
Everywhere. There's sand everywhere. And you walk away with like sand everywhere. And it's like, don't bring food. There's gonna be sand in your food. So I did a bonfire at the beach a couple weeks ago, and yeah, we were like cooking up the burgers, and I made like a nice little chicken Beyond burger. And
Nice.
I'm like, I was trying to eat it, but like each bite, it was so sandy.
Really?
It was so sandy. I'm like, this is a sandwich. I can't eat this.
I think the key is like really wrapping stuff in tin foil and then putting it on the grills and stuff.
Oh my
Or-
God. I have never tried that. That is a great idea.
And somebody else said, this is not my ideas. These are things that I don't know where I saw them, maybe on YouTube. And then another one was, that like a really good beach food is a burrito, because it's like wrapped in a thing, you know, and it's just like, and so you can't really get in there and you can figure it out later.
That's a good idea.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll remember that next time I go for my bonfire.
Grill a burrito.
Just like it's already wrapped in the foil, put it over the fire. Now it's a hot, flip it.
Yeah.
It'll have like the nice grill marks. All right. Thank you for the tip. The
Mhm.
best part of. Oh.
How was the bonfire? Did you guys do it on a weeknight?
Oh yeah, it was on a Wednesday. It was really chill. It was nice and peaceful. It was a little chilly. I went with my friend and he fell asleep, but it was cool because I just was like laying there listening to my music, looking at the stars, enjoying the warmth from the fire.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay to pass out next to a bonfire on the
Yeah,
beach.
I'm like, I get it, you're tired. But it's like it's fine to, you don't even need to talk by the bonfire.
Mhm.
It's good to just like listen to the music and hear the waves and just like enjoy the ambiance.
Wait, was it just the two of you?
It was just the two of us.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
See. Are the fire pits back there?
No,
No.
they're not back yet. Which
No.
I'm like, okay, when are you guys gonna bring back the fire pits? Like everything else is opening up. You guys should bring back the fire pits.
It's probably a lot of work. I think the cities actually are understaffed and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you know that the street sweeping in LA has moved to every other week?
Wow, because they don't have enough street sweepers. I used to talk to a guy that was a street sweeper, And he was saying how it's like such a cushy gig because you start work at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and
Mm-hmm.
then you finish work by noon.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's
He said it was good. I don't know where I read something that somebody was saying that it sucks, but I don't remember who or what. I'm sure you could, any job, some people are going to say it's good, some people are going to hate it.
yeah, and then it's street sweeping for different cities. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
they're paying the street sweepers in Los Angeles a different rate than they're paying the street sweepers in Chatsworth.
Yeah, that could be. I
Because
mean,
he was
that's
saying
almost
that
for
it was
sure.
like he was saying it was a good rate, that they make a good amount of money. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, that's
You'd hope
nice.
so. You'd hope so. I mean, any people like city workers, and they're out here, it's almost like it's risky, it's dirty, you know.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I've
nothing.
seen what these streets look like when they don't get swept, and I understand why they had the weekly street sweeping because people put so much trash on in the street. It's like, come on,
I
go
watched
go.
my downstairs neighbor today. So like they have like 3 cars, and so the minute that he can move it to the other side or whatever to claim spots to deal with that week's street sweeping, he does it, which is fine. But I was gonna like maybe let them know about the street sweeping happening every other weekend because it doesn't seem like anybody knows in my neighborhood or whatever. Everybody
Okay,
keeps moving their cars. But then today I saw him as he moved his car. He opened his car door. He threw out a half drank coffee drink, like a plastic thing with a straw, like a 16 ounce. He threw like a couple of masks. He threw like some other wrapper shit. Then he went to another car and he like just like whatever was in the side thing, just like threw it in the middle of the street. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, ugh. I was like, I'm not gonna tell him about the street sweeping. Fuck that guy.
I wouldn't tell him because clearly his character. Like, come on, man. Like, you could just if you have a plastic bag, just put all these
Our
things and
garbage cans, it's right in front of our house. So our garbage cans, we even have one right on the corner that never goes in.
oh my gosh. So he could just throw it right there. And now they're gonna be on the street for another week because it's not getting swept.
Well, this week it is. Last week was off. In my neighborhood, they do it on the second and fourth Wednesday and Friday, not anymore on the first or third, and they don't do it on the fifth. So if there's a fifth Wednesday or Friday of the month, it's clear. And
Okay.
you can there's a website you can visit, lacity.org, I think, where you can just type in your address and it tells you if you're a first or third or a second and fourth. And they
Okay.
even have little maps and stuff. And yeah, and that's indefinitely. They will just announce it, but it might be forever. And I even called the city to verify because I was like, I'm not getting another ticket.
That's good. You're an informed citizen, but yeah, you don't want to get a ticket. Definitely do not want to get a ticket over something like, oh man, I could have moved my car.
I got a bunch already. I got like there's like just a few months where they're enforcing it normally, and I was new to the neighborhood and just didn't have my shit together, and I got 3 tickets, and I didn't have any money. I'm on unemployment, and now they want $600 for those 3 tickets.
$600?
They
That
were
is ridiculous.
ridiculous. They were 73, but then of course there's late fees like I didn't pay because I didn't have any money, and now they're $208 a piece, and there's 3 of them. I got them like all in the same month. It's like what? And then they won't give you your tabs.
So, okay, I don't know how to fix that one, but in the
Mhm.
future, if you do get a ticket, immediately refute it, even if like
I did.
oh, and it didn't buy you any time.
It bought me a couple weeks, yeah, because then they like wrote a letter back, but then they denied. They just were like, nope, too bad.
Ah, man. See, normally when you refute it, I guess maybe because they were backlogged, you get like 6 months. It normally buys you like 6 months because the
Uh,
city is like not on it.
so in
They're not.
LA, they on the notice, they're like, so you have on the ticket itself, it says like you have 3 weeks to dispute it, and then when you dispute it, they're like, you can dispute this letter, but you have to send it, dispute it by this date.
Mhm.
And I did all that stuff, but it doesn't matter because they rejected all my disputes and then enforced the penalty anyway. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, to be honest. I don't have the money for it. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Well, they're still not enforcing the tags. So if you can't get your tags, you won't
Right.
get pulled over because right now you don't really need to have your tags renewed. So You get some
Now,
more time for that.
yeah, they're being chill about that. I think either way, I have till like August to figure it out,
Okay.
but that's gonna come soon. But yeah.
You're gonna get a windfall before August. I'm gonna speak it into existence.
Well, what I want them to do is, I mean, fuck, I guess I would pay the tickets because I could afford $200 now, but I can't
Okay.
afford the 6. So if they just like let me pay the normal freaking price, then I'd probably do it.
Well, hopefully they let you. It is COVID still. They should like not be giving people these extra fees.
Dude, I mean, so it's so biased against, I mean, the argument against these tickets is so valid. I mean, it only affects poorer people because you don't have a garage to park your stupid car. And it affects you so unevenly, like $600 with whatever, if I'm doing DoorDash out here, I need to work an entire week, like 50 hours to make
Wow.
that, and somebody else doesn't care, they
Mm-hmm.
might make that in a day, so you have different things, but it's just such a larger percentage of your income. And for what?
Yeah.
Because you just parked somewhere, forgot your car, and they put a sign up. It's like you didn't do anything illegal, you didn't harm, you know what I mean? It's
That
like,
is true. And
yeah.
then like some of these disputes. So I had one where I was parked somewhere with, and I went there with my mom, and she had put her handicap sticker in the window, and it was like, with the handicap placard, you can park for longer periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave me a ticket, and I disputed it. And I took a picture. There's a handicap placard in the window, and I sent them the picture, and they're still like, "Oh no, we deny your dispute." And I'm like, how do you deny the dispute when like all of the things, I have all of the facts, but
Right.
it's like it's they can say whatever. Like I, I'm not gonna go to court over this $90, but like I would like to not pay it.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys are the authority, and you guys are the ones that are issuing the tickets, and you want my money. So I'm like, at the end of the day, they want more money than less money.
Right.
They're gonna do what it takes to get more money. And like you said, it's like for some people, it's like, that's great. It's like, whatever, I'll just pay the tickets and keep parking on the street. But like, I would prefer to keep my $90. Even if I have the money to pay it, I'd prefer to keep my money. I don't
Right.
want to give the city my money. What did they do for me today? Like you said, they put up this sign. The
Right.
sign didn't help me. This sign just tried to limit my stay inside the store.
Right. And I mean, I get like they need to have some way to enforce the rules and like street sweeping and stuff, but one ticket, $73 is just like not it. I mean, nobody wants to pay $15. They would, if they did that, it would be whatever. Or I don't know. There's just got to be a better way where it's not this crazy amount of money.
But even $15 will be more understandable. $73 for just like your car being on the street, and then the street sweeping car just like drives around your car. They just
Right.
they drive around your car. So like that's crazy high for a ticket for your car just being on the street between these 4 hours where you wanted no cars on the street.
Right. Right. It's also extremely hard to keep track of if you're, again, like poor people are juggling more things, and here parking is hard. So sometimes it's late at night, you're exhausted. You go park your car and it has to be moved by 8 in the morning, but you didn't get home till whatever time,
That
And
is true. And it's like you don't remember, like in LA, you have to look at so many signs, whether you're parking during the day or at night. You have to read so many signs, like 2 signs here say no parking between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. And then this park sign says 2-hour parking between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And then this
right.
sign says no parking at all on Thursdays. And it's like,
Right.
what? I couldn't see that no parking at all on Thursdays
Yeah.
unless you have a permit. And it's
Right.
like, yeah, it's a little frustrating. I quickly learned, because I too, when I first moved here, I was getting quite a few tickets for the street cleaning, because like you might say I get home from work at like 2 a.m. I'm not reading the signs. I don't remember if I parked on the Tuesday or the Wednesday side, and I forgot to set an alarm because I got home at 2 a.m. Like,
Mm-hmm.
And that was after like a 14-hour day of work. And like, I didn't look at the signs. And now I wake up at 9 a.m. and I go out to my car. What? And the tickets are always like for that. It was like you couldn't park between like 8 a.m. and like 9 a.m. And they give you the ticket at like 8:01. So, they were like sitting behind your car.
Yeah. I mean, because they know, I mean, obviously it's their job. So it's like, you have to go. Your job is to give out the parking tickets. So you go where there's a parking restriction, which there is one somewhere every day, obviously.
Yeah.
I think they might be, probably struggling with those jobs too, that they don't have enough people to enforce it. They probably don't have enough street sweepers or enforcement or people to maintain the street sweeping trucks or people to clean out the garbage out of them, or who knows what all goes into it.
I'm not so mad about them not having enough parking enforcement people. I'm not so mad. Like, I don't really want them to be able to get to all the places. Like, get to less places. Don't come to my neighborhood. That's fine. If anything, parking enforcement should give tickets to the people that do that double parking. Like, if you are parked in between what can be considered 3 spots, and
Yes.
you are taking up 2 spots, ticket.
The only thing that's hard about that is that sometimes you don't know. It depends. Sometimes it can kind of depend on when people got there. They're not necessarily the ones to blame. They look like they did the shitty job, but it could have been just how, somebody else was parked and then they had to deal with what they had. So, but if you had cameras.
Yes. And that's why I feel like some of these neighborhoods, they should like go through and put in the lines for parking. Like,
I see. So this is a spot. This is a spot. This is a
this is a
spot.
spot. This is a spot. This is a spot.
Yeah, I feel that. For me, it's not. I have a tiny car, so it's like Honda Fit, so I kind of have a little bit of an advantage, and it's definitely useful that I don't always have to fit into like a normal spot because that saves me all the time. But yeah, if it was just spots, it would be better.
That's my thing that I'm gonna push to the representatives of these cities. Go ahead and mark off the spots with all these people that just keep moving their cars around. It's a real pain, especially when you're visiting friends in Koreatown. Seems like all the streets in Koreatown though, like, because most people there don't have apartment parking. Like, a lot of the apartments there don't come with parking.
Right.
So the people that live there are trying to park, and then heaven forbid you have a friend.
Yeah, totally. No, I mean, I try to, and people in LA are pretty much used to it. So I try not to make a big deal out of it. Like when somebody's coming to visit me for a first time and I'm a little nervous, depending on what time of day it is, that parking might be hard, but I just don't say anything. You know what I mean? I just like, cause I don't want to jinx it, they might find parking right away, but if they're already going into it kind of stressed, like parking's going to be hard, like if they ask what parking's like around here, I'm like, you'll be able to find, it depends, I'm honest. If it's during the day, I mean, if it's at noon or 1, then parking's everywhere.
Yeah.
I actually took a picture of it, like in front of my house, like yesterday, there was no cars, like all from the corner to the next building or whatever. So like stretch of 6 or 7 cars. Yeah, I was like, what the heck? And it wasn't a street sweeping day or anything. It was like yesterday, or or maybe it was Friday. So I took a picture. I was like, this is never happening.
People are back to work. If anything is a sign that people are going back to work, that's it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I have another friend where like I went to visit her and it was during the week, and it was for once there was finally like places to park on the street, and it was like, oh, okay, well, people must be going back to work. Because during COVID, there was nowhere to park. Like, you're parking 3 blocks away.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, definitely, of course, when people were staying home and in this neighborhood here, for sure, it must have been harder. Well, we've been going for an hour. I thought it was interesting that Zoom again didn't choose to like cancel us.
That's because it's only 2 people. It's when it's more than 2 people. When it's more than 2 people, it puts you down.
Okay, what a weird rule, but it kind of makes sense.
They don't want you to have too many friends. Because I guess they figure, like, if it's just 2 people, you guys are just hanging out. But if it's more than that, you're probably having a meeting. And
you could be having. Yeah. Well, I mean, they got to make money somehow, so.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have just like like ads running right now above us and stuff, just
Like,
banners and
come
stuff.
to the Quickie Mart.
Exactly. Like 7-Eleven,
Like a tape.
Powerball. Yeah, ticker tape of just
There
shit.
you go. Ticker tape. Your tattoos look really cool in your green shirt.
I love this green shirt. It's so hard to find like a green shirt. I got this in the fabric district in LA because I had to buy a pink shirt for a show I was in, which ended up happening because of COVID. And the guy was like, they don't want to sell you just one in those stores where there's just piles of t-shirts.
Oh, like 5 t-shirts for $8.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he's like, if you give me $5, you can pick out a couple other ones. But I was like, sure, because they had really good colors. For men's shirts, like if you go into just a department store and get like a pack of shirts, like Hanes or something like that, they're very hard to find in things that are not blue. Like blue t-shirts is like, for some reason, but to find like just even green is
It's a mythical color.
Obviously, if you can go to the fabric district, but yeah, if you're at like a Target or something like that, just to find like a plain t-shirt that's not blue, it's hard. Yeah.
Okay, but I like that green on you. It looks
Thank
good.
you.
Like I said, makes your tattoos pop.
I barely wear it because it's my special green shirt. So then, of course, I never even freaking wear it, and I'm scared. I don't want to wash it too much because I'm afraid it'll lose its greeniness. It will fade a little bit.
The perfect green. Well, thank you for bringing it out for this podcast today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You look nice as well. I like your nails. I like your dress that I can only see the shoulders of.
Oh, the dress is cute. It's a nice print. I like to pop as well. While I lay on my fur.
It looks good. You did a nice job matching your eyes to the dress and stuff.
You noticed. Thank you. Thank you. I've tried to pull up all the stops. Since I'm at home, why not? Might as well be flashy in some way or another. But yes, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you all for watching our podcast today. We're sorry.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You can snap your fingers if you want for kicks. Boom!
Pew, pew, pew. Add some glitter.
Pew, 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 pew.